Hello, welcome to this live podcast. I'm here again with Matthew Moyer.
Hi.
That's it, definitely. And we're going to be running through the Doctor Who Vengeance response Q&A. So you can ask loads of questions you want, and we're answering to our best of our ability. Now we've seen there are quite a few questions in already. Instead of looking over them again, because it's going to take a lot of time. Can you just post the best questions down at the bottom of the chat for us, and that will help us.
So, first things first, is there anything we should talk about?
Mainly we want Doctor Who Vengeance, Doctor Who Season 46 still stuff, stuff about Panopticon Series 3 and Doctor Who Season 47. That's the main stuff. And you can also talk a bit about the announcing Season 46 upcoming Leftover movie, which should be at the end of 2010. So that's 2 Doctor Who movies in a year.
Yeah.
At the opposite end.
So, who will play the Master in the next series?
The Master's not in the next series. I can confirm that right now.
There we go. Will David Suchet's 13th Doctor be a Hartnell-esque Doctor?
I think there's certainly be tones of that, especially as he's the last Doctor in this regeneration cycle. And he's also he's an older actor. He's the oldest man to play the Doctor, and that's definitely intentional by the writers. But Suchet's casting, I think, would have been a massive controversy at the time, because again, as you yourself had argued, it's casting a very well-known actor in a part which isn't usually played by well-known actors. And a lot of that is from Paramount, and a lot of that's from the BBC as well. A lot of that's because the 50th anniversary is coming up, and they're building up Doctor Who. And also because Doctor Who's in a very successful place at the moment to have 3 pretty much successful films, with the first one slightly dipping in popularity. Revelation, I do think, would have been the most successful of the 3. Maybe not box office, but by critical acclaim. The only reason I think Doctor Who Vengeance was more successful with the box office is because it was given a high budget. So when's the Leftover movie going to come out? Well, the video for it will be after Season 47. So you have next, you've got Panopticon 3, Season 47, then the Leftover movie.
Do we have an idea on how the regeneration cycle will be broken? Yes, but we're not telling you.
We've worked out exactly how it's all going to work out. We worked out when the doctors are going to be. We worked out how it's all going to work. It's much more complicated than you think it would be. And yes, there are no magic fairy dust. And it involves Panopticon, it involves the movies, it involves the TV series, it involves everything. It involves loads of characters because it's really important, and we're not going to magic it away.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff you've seen already now is setting up for how the Doctor's going to get a new regeneration cycle, and we're already setting it up now. We're setting it up months ago. So
yeah.
Leave that to you.
Because it's an important thing, and I feel like the people making Doctor Who would have thought about this. They would have planned this, not nearly as quickly as we did, but like, no.
Will Season 47 become a bit more classic since it's coming towards 50 minutes old as Doctor? I think there would be more stories that echo the sort of Hartnell tones, and there will be I think it will feel more sort of nostalgic, but not full too much of canon. I know it is Gary Russell, so there's a certain element of
but
Ira probably there.
Ira probably would have said no.
I think there would be lots of stuff going on there. Out of the 3 films, which is the best? Doctor Who 3, Doctor Who Revelation, Doctor Who Vengeance. I would say Doctor Who Revelation would be the best of that trilogy. Those 3 films.
I would say Vengeance, personally.
You say Vengeance is better. I think it's all about taste. I think Vengeance and Revelation are the 2 better ones. Because I think Doctor Who 2003 is still finding its feet, and it's got ridiculous amount of plot lines to juggle because there's all those doctors everywhere. Yeah.
Hi, mate. When will Leftover Series 3 be? Leftover Series 3 was already released on the 29th of March, 2017.
Well, you certainly know your dates, or did you just look that up?
I looked it up. I looked it up while you were talking, so I could answer that question.
Will the Valiard have the same feel as Michael Jason or be very different? They will definitely try and go and emulate the performance Michael Jason gave in Child of the Time Lord, and that's very important to them.
But still make it feel like Charles Dance is doing. Yeah, they're emulating it more in terms of the writing, I think.
They want to cast a slightly younger actor. I know Charles Dance is only 10 years younger than Michael Jason, but they want to cast someone slightly younger who could be more flexible with sort of to be there, and also really well known. They wanted someone who could be a big name for the villain, and that's what they went with Charles Dance. But it does say in the end credits special thanks to Michael Jason, so in my head at least, Michael Jason gave his blessing and said, yes, you can take on my character. So, will there be a Genesis of the Cybermen origin story in your universe? Yes, it's called The Most Questionable Decision in the Universe.
Yes.
I always want to say in history, but it's the universe. Also,
shouldn't just call it Spare Parts.
Yeah, Chris Sanderman.
Yeah. Why Sharda instead of a better unmade story?
Because
2 reasons.
Two reasons.
One, we've already done Night Thoughts. 2, Gary Russell.
Yeah, and Sharda's the most famous of them, and it's the one that and it has Douglas Adams' name on. So already just putting that on the poster in tiny print gets loads more people watching it because of Douglas Adams. And also, I think it's a solid story. There are problems with it, but I think that's what Vengeance does its best to try and iron out, and it's just the basis of that. There is lots different, and the film isn't about Sharda. Sharda barely features in it. It's about Gregory, his rise to power, and setting up for Panopticon. Basically, it's a sort of a Panopticon film with the Doctor in it.
So it was said in the Endgame documentary that Ben Aronovich would not be suited for the role of script editor. How would he get it anyway?
Well, it said that he was considered, but it said he might not be suited, but it never says he wouldn't have got it. There was always the opportunity that it would end up with him anyway, and if the other people fell through, it would have been. It was never definite. It was never definite for the other people. And looking at my objectivity, I thought he would probably be the most suited out of those people to take over, because at least he'd had some experience on the show. He was good at writing. He did have plans for the sort of thing he would want to do. So that's why, because I think he'll be the best role, and he was considered. They said he might not be suited, but all of them, there was some element of that.
So, are you done?
Yes.
Okay. So, I was just making sure so I didn't interrupt anything. Why cast Capaldi in the role that he plays, i.e. Gregory?
Because I thought he would be the best for Gregory. Gregory is a character that we've been planning for a long time. He's a very important character to the future Panopticon, and we want to please Capaldi in it in some way. And I thought he would work great as Gregory because he's great at playing villains, and he can play a major role in Panopticon and the rest of the Doctor Who universe.
And plus, he's a massive Doctor Who fan. He would have taken the offer, and they thought, "Hey, Peter Capaldi's good. Why not do him?"
It was what episode was he in the Griffiths era? It was in
Not that. Not the Prisoner of Time.
No, it wasn't. It was in
Nightfalls.
Nightfalls is Nightfall, but is that the same season as Prisoner of Time?
Yes.
So he's in the same season as playing a different character as the first appearance of his later character in Another Regeneration. That's quite funny.
Mm. I mean, he did that in our universe as well. He was in the same story as a character he'd later play.
So, will there be a Valiard regeneration backstory? We see the birth of the Valiard in Doctor Who Vengeance, because the regeneration is extracted between the 12th and 13th incarnations to do that, and we will expand upon that in the future, but that was just a little teaser of what's to come. But the Rogue is behind the Valiard, and that's an important thing you learn from Doctor Who Vengeance. I got confused. I meant to say Leftover Series 4. Matt, when was Leftover Series 4 released?
I have to look this up now. I thought you wouldn't read that.
It was released
like a year ago as well.
Yeah. But was like September time. What you mean is
I don't think it was.
What you mean is the leftover film, which will be released.
Panopticon Series 3.
Which will be released at the end of Series 10, and would be
at the end of Series 10. Don't you mean 2010?
At the end of 2010, and would be after season 47, which is after Panopticon 3, and Panopticon 3 is the next one out. So.
Well, classic Doctor Who villains or companions return.
Well, we're talking Panopticon since now we have both Tennant and Capaldi in that show. Well, Smith has already been in a season 45 episode. I can't remember which one.
And Abbott.
Yeah. Whittaker, she's still free. And Eccleston, he might show up sometime. He hasn't shown up yet, I don't think.
Yeah, he might. Who knows?
There'll be amazing stories in this time. Yeah, there's amazing stories for every single season. What classic Who Doctor Who villains or companions return in the future? You have to wait and see. But it wouldn't be classic Doctor Who because it's just Doctor Who. It continued. There's no new classic Doctor Who. There's just Doctor Who at the moment and Doctor Who in the past. It's just all Doctor Who. So it'll just be previous villains that return.
I'm just going to say now the Vardans aren't returning anytime soon. I'm sorry, guys.
Will there be a multi-master and Valiod story in the story? Well, there aren't two Valiods. Jason is supposed to be playing the same exact character as Dance. Dance and Jason are supposed to be playing the same person. They're supposed to be. They're not play. It's like David Bradley and William Hartnell. It's that, and I don't think the Valiod can. Can he regenerate? Well, I think he's trying to steal the Doctor regenerations in Time Time Lord to regenerate himself. We'll see how that goes. Who else would be considered for Doctor number 13? I don't know. We did consider some other people, but I can't remember who they were.
Like David Warner?
Did we consider? Yeah, we briefly considered David Warner, but I think because he's like 10 more years older than David Suchet, that's getting a bit. Well, filming schedules will kill the old man.
Yeah, he better just stick to audio.
How would they explain Zen and Chris possibly being gone by the next film? I'm not going to answer that question.
You have to wait and see.
Because that's spoilers. What will be the most successful story in the Joseph and Head era? Let's go Joseph era first. What do you think is the most successful story in his era? You're probably going to say Jubilee, aren't you?
I would say Jubilee would be a contender, yes.
But you've got Mad World in there as well.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like Mad World.
You've got Delayed Indefinitely.
I would say Mad World
and Impossible Planet.
Better. Impossible Planet, yeah.
Oh, you've got
just all of season 46.
Yeah, season 46 is ridiculously strong, and some of the stuff in 44 as well, and 45. I think a few of them in 45.
It's like when Gary Russell isn't writing anything and just being a presence, you get really good stuff.
Just when he writes, then sometimes it goes a bit haywire.
Zagreus.
Will we see Jason regenerate into Charles Dance? No, because they're playing the same incarnation, like Bradley and Hartnell.
Yeah.
The last article for Elizabeth said in Caroline John, the leftover movie probably would be because they would die. Is it the next year or the year after?
Well, Sladen died in 2011.
So she would have died just a couple of months after the leftover movie released.
Caroline John died in 2012.
Mm-hmm. So both of them, yeah, that would be the last outing.
Yeah.
Excellent, Jen. Excellent, Jen. Excellent work after many seasons. Thank you. I've done most of the work, of course, but Matt's been with me since season 42, which is so many actual videos ago now. That is utterly ridiculous. So he's very much part of the team now.
Thank you.
So many seasons does account to him now because you have done quite a few seasons now. The Vardans are classic villains. No, there's no such thing as classic villains, as I've just said.
The Vardans. I was behind the Vardans in Rebel Zero.
Is the Brigadier retired by now, or is it in the Peru situation? Well,
he died in...
Yeah, if you watch Doctor Who the movie, he died. He dies with the Semester McCoy timeline. It's pretty easy to miss, but he dies in the Sylvester McCoy sort of storyline in that film. So sorry about that.
I thought it would be retconned, but by the end of it, but no. We've got Bambera. She would probably been like She would have been the next best thing.
Right. Which Doctor in What If Doctor Was Axe would you like to travel with? Like, which one would be the most fun traveling with? Personally, I'd say Patrick Joseph would be fantastic to travel with.
To be honest, same.
Yeah. I think it would be so much fun, but not too fun. But it's like just a perfect mix, and that would just be great to travel with him. Griffiths would be nice, but I don't know. I feel he could get a bit angry sometimes, but sort of that same sort of harmless sternness and lovable grandfather type element you got with him. Will all the following things return? Sea Devils, Keaton, Mara, Yeti, and Morbius. Well, there's no plans for any of those to return at the moment, but stuff can change.
They could.
Right. Was David Suchet your first idea? I don't think it was our first. I can't remember.
I think I brought him up as a possible like actor to bring into the series, and you're like, let's make him the Doctor.
Yeah, and it took me a while to persuade Matt because I think he had a lot of the same concerns as everyone else. But once I did, I thought it's the right thing to do. I think it will really work for this era of the show, and
yeah, definitely.
I really think they would have gone with it. I apologise for asking again every first question. Will there be a Cybermen origin story?
Yes,
there has been a Cybermen origin story. That was the most questionable decision in the universe in season 37. That was with Paul McGann. It was an origin story.
That was like 10 seasons ago.
Yeah, and it was it was based upon spare parts. So pretty much is spare parts, but that's a Cybermen origin
Paul
story.
McGann instead.
Bring back the Vervoids or I'll track you down and kill you. Well, no. Panopticon might. I don't know. Panopticon has more free reign to do weird things.
They might appear in a cameo.
But I doubt it. I make when will season 47 be on YouTube? Well,
you always ask us.
Next month, Panopticon Series 3 will probably be out. So season 47 will probably be August. Probably. But, you know, I might work quicker. It just depends what I'm doing. Considering the Rogue was introduced as an antagonist in the McGann/Grant era and slowly turned into an ally of the Doctor's presidency, are we seeing the return of his original character? Well, now we have Gregory in there, the Rogue, and he's not president now. He's trying his best to be president with this election we've got going on, but he can be especially much more villainous now because he isn't in that president role where he has to be sort of the force for good, but he's also not the villain now because Gregory's sort of the villain but sort of not, and it's all very grey. But he is returning much more to his original sort of antagonistic character as well, but sort of an anti-hero where he's being antagonistic towards Gregory, but we like it. But yes, there you go. I think with the Valiard coming into it and the Rogue being behind that we're definitely seeing more of that. In this universe, there's no definition of classic Space Shark productions. It's literally, if people say, like, they're saying, oh, something from season 26, something from season 29, something from season 2, something from season 42.
I feel like if they're going to generalize it at all, it would be like co-production and then post-co-production.
Or just by decade.
Yeah, maybe even just by decade, yeah.
Or by just producer, showrunner.
Yeah, like, let's bring back a Hinchcliffe villain. Who should we bring back? Let's bring back the Wirren. Something like
Whatever
that.
happened to Flavia? Whatever did happen to Flavia?
Oh boy, no.
That's a question we need to keep in mind because I've got no idea what happened to Flavia.
We'll figure it out when it comes to the book.
Can't wait for all 13 in the 50th anniversary special movie after 4 more seasons. Well, I don't think it's possible to get all 13 Doctors in the 50th anniversary. I know Moffat managed it somehow, not in the most satisfying way, but the 50th anniversary in this universe would be very, very different from the Day of the Doctor. It would still be
some of the same sets.
Yeah,
possibly.
It will be similar in some ways, but very different in other ways, and focused on very different things.
Mostly different.
Yeah, but it's not what you would expect. Will Gary Russell resign before season 50? You'll have to wait and see.
Exactly.
How the Master fit into the Dark Dimension? You've asked before. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to
We'll
work that
figure it out.
Will Timothy Dalton regenerate? Well, he's not regenerating anytime soon. You have to wait and see. Would you have the Whovian Chaser do how to cosplay the Doctor videos for the What If Doctor was an active universe?
That would actually be pretty neat.
If he wants to, I don't know if he watched the series. Not, I doubt it. However, if he liked the series and wanted to do it, yeah, sure. Any of you, if you want to do anything on it, go ahead. I don't have any problem with that. You know, if you want to go ahead and do any sort of fan stuff, yeah, that'd be great. Do you guys see in the foreseeable future before his death, do you have guys plan to bring Roger Moore into the series? Matt, you're the Bond expert.
I mean, we could.
We have no plans to at the moment, but with
I don't think he retired from acting. Sean Connery did, so we probably won't be able to get Sean Connery in. But like the other Bond actors, I mean, Daniel Craig.
We'd have to, if Roger Moore was there, we'd have to bring him to Panopticon because we would want him to meet the Rogue.
Oh yeah.
Because if he doesn't meet Dalton's Rogue, then like there's no point in doing it.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even think of that. I mean, Pierce Brosnan, I don't see any sort of role for him in any of the Doctor Who stuff what we're going to be doing or Panopticon or whatever. I don't see Pierce Brosnan personally. George Lazenby, again, probably not. But Roger Moore is probably the most likely Bond to appear other than Dalton.
How do you think about choosing the actors in the films and /TV, I'm going to guess? Is it the role they play or how they suit the time? It's a mix of both. It's who thinks good for the role, who do we think that the producer at the time would have cast? Because we're always thinking, what would happen if it was an actor? It's not necessarily what we would do, because there's a lot of stuff I disagree with. Like
having Gareth Roberts write a load of stuff.
Because I personally don't very much like the man. However, that's what they would have done at the time. It was a presence there. You know, Gareth Roberts co-wrote Doctor Who Vengeance. However, I don't particularly like him in real life. I don't like many of his stories. I do like some of them. But there's a reason why I would have done that. And there's also other stuff like the Gallifrey arc as well. I probably wouldn't have done it like that. I probably wouldn't have done a Gallifrey arc. But that's something that you can see the direction the show was heading. And after 5 very repetitive years of Sandeman, that's the direction it's going. And
to be honest, if you were to do something like that, that's how you would have done it.
Yeah, because you've already done Earth in the John Pertwee years. So you've done Earth. Where are you going next? Gallifrey, that's the obvious choice.
I thought Scarrow was the obvious choice. I pronounced that weird, Scarrow. Oh, look, it's the Daleks from Scarrow.
Will the storyline with the Valiard end up tying with Trial of the Time Lord? Yes. There's no point in doing it if it doesn't tie in with Trial of the Time Lord. It won't tie in ridiculously directly, but there will be enough leeway for Trial of the Time Lord to be able to happen in the Valiard's personal timeline. Will there be a Doctor origin story movie? How do you do a Doctor origin story? Because the Doctor's whole timeline is pretty much spread out. We know how each Doctor begins. Or do you mean like the Doctor as a child? Because I don't think that would be a good thing to do, because you're sort of giving us too much backstory into the Doctor. You can give other people backstory, but I think the Doctor, most of the time, leave the backstory out of him because of the fact he's such a mysterious character. And it's called Doctor Who. It's all about who is this man?
Yeah.
How were particular characters from DW Vengeance rated by audience and critics? So let's go through the new characters in there. Gregory. Yeah. How do you think audience and critics would like Gregory?
I feel like Gregory would be something different. I feel like he'd be comparing him to the last film's villain, the Master. I feel like he'd be very different. I feel like he'd be colder rather than creepy and relishing.
His objective is just to become president. He just wants his president back. He was president before, and he just wants to be president again.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's in his way, and he'll get rid of the Doctor. That's it. he has to negotiate more with the Rogue because the Rogue is the current president of a very high position of power. The Doctor is just some sort of renegade he wants to get rid of. And he literally goes, look, you idiots, I'm going to go and kill him myself. That's what he does at the end of the film. And now Gregory has no memory of the Doctor because of Chronotis' last sacrifice. So that's going to be very interesting. With Gregory, he's got no idea of anything about the last president of Gallifrey. Well, 2 back if you don't count, because the Doctor, the Rogue, Gregory. So here's an idea for a story. Hold it there, because I'm going to announce a competition, which I haven't told Matt about because I was thinking about this.
I think I can see where this is going.
Yeah. Go to DaDoctorWhoFan@gmail.com, and you have to the end of July, the last day of July, the 31st of July, to submit a story idea with a synopsis and then a description leaf, like I do in a video, for a story for season 48. So this is in a few months' time, and the winner will get a prize, like a Doctor Who Vengeance poster or something like that.
Possibly give like suggestions for actors that you'd want to play certain characters.
Yeah,
but not do them.
But if we like the winner, we will take that synopsis stuff and develop that more, or if it's that good, we do that. But that's the competition we're announcing. So DaDoctorWhoFan@gmail.com, and for season 48, it'll be one story in season 48. Give us the title, the writer, a synopsis, and a little description underneath of how the story's going, and we'll pick the best one, and that will go in season 48. And if there's more than one, which is good, you might find more appearing in future seasons as well.
Please note, if we like the story but feel like the writer probably wouldn't have done it,
we might change stuff. So that's always in mind. When it comes to choosing a lot of the actors from the canon New Who universe, is it hard to put them as characters which are not their characters from the canon New Who universe? Yeah, a bit, because sometimes we think a lot of them, but I think we know those actors so well. We're going there. Rue Adjament, yeah, she'd be great to play Lizzie's mum in the past when she was younger, stuff like that. David Tennant, yeah, Will Adams, perfect for him. Peter Capaldi, Gregor, yeah. David Suchet is not the Doctor, just make it a bit more real. How dare the BBC cast Norman as the Doctor? Yeah. Will the Daleks appear in the leftover movie? Due to say that Terry Nation State saying they have to be in every movie. They have to be in every Doctor Who movie. They have to feature in every Doctor Who movie. Leftovers are Doctor Who spin-off movie, so it doesn't count. I'm going to go past the present day for the series. I will always stay on the present day. So when I reach 2018, I will just release it as we get to those actual release dates. So say we get to, well, more of 2019 when I finish, probably. So we get to 31st of October 2019, and that's when there's a Doctor Who Halloween special. I don't know, I'm making this up. There might not be. I would release a video then. Paramount is set to open a theme park in 2021 with DW to be part of the attraction. How this play out in the Doctor was an actual universe? Well, there would be Doctor Who theme park at the Paramount theme park because that makes sense. They own it. What previous Doctors were most likely to go to conventions to have interviews, interact with fans? Well, I think all the Doctors would go to convention stuff. I think Griffiths would, he's the sort of person he would. McGann, the sort of person he would.
Yeah.
Richard Grant, I think to a lesser step, I still think he definitely would. Anthony Head. Anthony Head, he's got 2 bills. He's got Buffy and he's got Doctor Who.
Doesn't Griffiths also have 2 bills, like Harry Potter and Doctor Who?
Yeah, but this is, well, afterwards, yeah. So he would.
Yeah.
But Buffy and Doctor Who are both massive. Patterson Joseph, I think he definitely would as well. David Suchet, I think he's probably the least likely to out of all of them.
Because still, he might go to some.
Yeah, but I don't think there's really
probably charge more.
Conventions. Yeah,
he'd probably charge more.
It would be one of the bigger charges.
But not nearly as much as Eccleston has.
Doctor Who and the Mustache and Magic by Ollie Everett.
Doctor Who and the Bashing of Gary Russell by Matt.
Right, a clip has been leaked. I'm assuming you're talking about the Series 11 clip. Yes, we know. Let's not talk about that. Let's stay in what the Doctor was an axe at the moment.
Yes.
Will there be a Christmas special in season 48? You have to wait and see. Yeah, let's skip all of these. Will Doctor 13 have a new TARDIS interior? No, the 13th Doctor in What Doctor Acts will keep the same interior as Patterson Joseph, because it's the Gary Russell interior, and they only built it a few years ago. It wastes money to build another one, and it's perfectly fine. I guess there'll be new changes, like with Capaldi, with Smith to Capaldi. There was changes made.
Lighting,
perhaps even more bookcases and seats and all that sort of stuff.
Possibly make it bigger.
Yeah, expand it. Give us more rooms, maybe.
I mean, it's bigger on the inside, so
yeah, maybe make it more like sort of a starship inside. You know, different rooms, different quarters and stuff. I don't know. They definitely could. We have to wait and see. We are just planning out the Sushi at the moment. We do have the first of his seasons planned out with all the stories, but we haven't got to synopsis stage yet, and we have brief ideas. Also, Sushi's casting continues to trend Grant onwards of the trend of new hero antagonists supporting players playing the lead role. I guess, yeah, because Grant played Dr. Simeon. Anthony Head played the guy in, what's his name, in School Reunion?
Mr. Finch.
Mr. Finch. Patterson Joseph played the twit from...
he played that twit.
Yeah, from Parting of the Ways. And then David Suchet played the caretaker. No, the landlord. Sorry, not the caretaker. The landlord.
Patterson Joseph has also appeared in like a few Big Finish.
Yeah, so yeah, that is a trend. I didn't even realize that trend happened.
Also, Anthony Head was in other Doctor Who things like the Big Finish, Exodus Audios, and the Infinite Quest. So, I mean, all of the Doctor Who wasn't Acts Doctors have had TARDIS wiki pages. Richard Griffiths' was deleted because he wasn't really in Doctor Who, so why have a TARDIS wiki page?
But Anthony Head also did the voiceover for Doctor Who Confidential for a few of them. Doctor and the Brutal Murder of Matt and Ben by myself for not including the Vervoids. Yes.
Do we have to call the police on this guy?
Will Leftover movie be the final appearance of Katie and Joe in the series, and will later appearance in Wayne? Well, Katie and Joe could very well appear later on. I'm not going to never say never, but as it stands, it's planned that that's their final appearance, but they could very well appear later on.
Yeah.
If you two got a chance to cameo in the What If Doctor Was Acts universe, which story would you guys cameo in? Like dimension hop and then like go into a story. Let's just say if you wanted to go into a story in the What If Doctor Was Acts universe, be literally in a story, which one would you go into? You know what I'd say?
What?
Looking into the eye. No, I wouldn't. Well, do you want to be with Paul McGann and Jennifer Lean for like hours and hours with the Eye of Harmony?
I wouldn't mind being with Paul McGann. I mean, he's a lovely bloke. Seriously, like when I met him at like the Aberdeen Comic Con, he was like, oh, he was so lovely, you know. But he did debunk the facts that it was rumored that he was up for Bond. He debunked that. So if you see that on Wikipedia, change that because it's not true.
Another one from me. How many Doctors in this universe would reprise their role for Big Finish? Big Finish doesn't exist in this universe because there's no Wilderness years, no Doctor Who being off the air. So Big Finish, there would never been a reason for Big Finish to start. It can work for Doctor Who on the air like it does now, brilliantly. But there would no reason for its creation. It just wouldn't exist because of events leading to it, unfortunately. So there might be BBC audios, like, you know, actual BBC audio dramas done occasionally. But no.
Like there had been.
Yeah, but no, Big Finish wouldn't be here, sadly.
The Virgin New Adventures could happen, but not in the same way. They were like the Virgin Missing Adventures, and they wouldn't happen as soon.
Yeah. Did Patterson Joseph regenerate in a new fashion? If he did, will this effect remain in the future? Now, the effect for regeneration, I described it in Doctor Who, and I think I described it again in Doctor Revelation, and it's similar for Patterson Joseph. It's like the new Who effect, except all your body, literally the particles spread out, explode out into explosion, then come back together as a new body. I explained that. And if you look at the title sequence of Doctor Who the movie, that bit where the Seal of Rassilon does that, that's the same effect that will happen to the Doctor, but sort of a golden glow as well. I think that's just to be more of the New Who style, but still of it sort of going out, but more of a glow effect. So that's what the regeneration looks like, at least in my head. The reason that's about the Christmas Special 48 is because that's what my story would be about. Well, we have planned ideas for bits and bits, and maybe there might be one in 48, maybe there might be one in 47, maybe there might be one later.
Can we just specify we know what we're gonna do in terms of Christmas specials? So
yeah, we're just not going to give it away. Yeah, can you not do Christmas special ones? There can be episodes in the main season set at Christmas because, well, we had like the Quite Dead in Midnight Upon Us, all that sort of stuff, and Quite Dead in Series 1. So just let's stay with main season sort of stuff because that's easier to fit everything in. Actually, what if Doctor was an action universe ever been near risk of being axed? So you're talking about me personally? I've never decided to stop doing it.
However, I feel like
there might be moments like I think probably around the end of McGann that the BBC might have been considering the chop.
I feel like it was like more the end of Garwood, possibly.
Maybe. I think again
it's getting popular in America, so they decided to continue it.
Yeah, and I think also bits when, like, perhaps after the first season of Richard E. Grant as well, between his first and second seasons. But then the movie came along and everything changed, and suddenly Doctor Who became much more popular again. Which is like, it would have been taken to Doctor the movie for Doctor Who to get back to its height of popularity again. Because the whole of the 90s is building up to that point. I think it would have been started off sort of down, and then it's going up, it's building up, and then you get to mid-Garwood, and it zoots right up. Then it goes down a bit until you get into Sandeman, and then it builds up again to the movie, and then it jumps right up. Then it goes down again in Anthony Head, and then back up for Patterson Joseph, and say up for Suchet. I think Doctor Who does that all the time. Look at our history, and like Doctor Who always, it's up, down, up, down, up, down, because Doctor Who does it all the time. It's natural for Doctor Who. What kind of leaks do you think would have happened? What Doctor Who wasn't axed? There's leaks for every season of Doctor Who. There would have been stuff leaked. I think the main things they were trying to keep secret is the castings of the Doctors in the movies, and I think they would have been successful with that.
Until the day of release. Yeah. Especially like what would happen like now, like all the spoiler culture. But I feel like stuff like What Culture, they would have been more respectful, but they would have still revealed it. They just would have told people, spoiler warning, okay? If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Will there be a Doctor Who Vengeance soundtrack? Now, the problem with this is that David Arnold hasn't done much stuff for Doctor Who in real life, and he's done a bit, but it would be hard to compile a whole soundtrack. So I might release individual bits and stuff. And I used bits of the Series 9, Series 10 soundtrack. So up to 10, David Arnold did that, because he might very well have done something like that. But the problem is, I can't compile a full soundtrack because I don't have enough stuff. But John Devney and Murray Gold, I could very easily do that. But it made sense. It made sense for David Arnold to do it.
I feel like Bill's theme did work for this film, and that could very well be Chris's theme.
I see it as the Cambridge theme. That's how I saw it.
Oh, the Cambridge theme. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Perfectly fine.
What about the books? You're talking about this sort of idea I have to do a book. Well,
I feel like that was more of like, well, because Big Finish doesn't exist, what about the books? I feel like original fiction books would still exist. They just wouldn't. I just feel like stuff like the Virgin New Adventures
would be mostly the novelizations.
They wouldn't. Yeah, the original fiction probably wouldn't have happened until like later, because like they probably wouldn't have happened in 1991. The reason why Virgin New Adventures started is because Doctor Who's future was uncertain. They weren't sure if it was going to come back soon. There were rumors that it was going to come back, but that was probably Red Dwarf Series 5, moving studio and all that. So yeah, it basically started because Wilderness Years. But the ideas were still there, so I feel like it was gonna.
Will the Doctor regenerate in every move from now on? As it stands at the moment, yes, but not necessarily. not necessarily. Don't be so locked into that. But as it stands, that's the idea that Paramount are doing, because it's easy to do. Every Doctor gets a movie, they regenerate after that, have a few years of TV, gets another movie, regenerate at the end, blah, 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 keep going. But not necessarily it's always going to be like that. How did McCoy die in his timeline? Henrik, as an agent of the Miss High, poisoned the Doctor by putting poison into his tea.
Yeah, that will be retconned in the book. I'll make sure of that. All of the deaths will be retconned.
I think that's fine. I mean, that's fine. We just need to explain it.
Yeah.
Because we know the 10th Doctor is screaming in agony, and the 11th Doctor is "this is it." So what were the last words for 12? Well, it wouldn't be saying any last words. It would have been something. It would have been just talking to Gregory and trying to persuade him to come down, because as soon as he's knocked down onto that barrier, he's not saying anything. He just looks up at Chronotis and then he falls.
I feel like
not saying anything when he falls.
I feel like that's better as an idea, because it's like, oh, these will be the last words the Doctor will say until he dies for reals. But like,
it would have just been something in that scene, but it wouldn't have been like a Tender's last words. You're just saying, like, Gregory, stop this right now, blah blah blah. Something like, we'll fall down. But there's a lot of time between his last sentence he would say and when he actually regenerates, because there'd be all that time he's on the bridge and it'd be filmed really cinematic, you know, the sort of thing.
I feel like it would be similar. I feel like the 12th Doctor's death in this universe would be similar to Vesper's death in Casino Royale. Sorry for spoiling Casino Royale for everyone, but like, it just needed to be said. I mean, it's. You guys have seen Casino Royale if you are into Bond.
What new series stories wouldn't exist in this timeline? Everything that we haven't included
so far.
Yep. So we've included some new series stuff, and everything else is not in there because it doesn't exist.
We might include new series stuff. I shouldn't have said we will, but like
I'm gonna say there's going to be a lot less new series stuff going forward. There's still going to be some, but a lot less than some of the quantity you've had in recent years.
I mean, it doesn't really like matter that much. Like,
but season 46,
as long as they make sense,
didn't it?
As long as they make sense.
Yeah, 46 had Delayed Indefinitely, which was Midnight. Impossible Planet, which was The Impossible Planet, Sage and Pit. Mad World as well. It also had Eternity Shot from Sarah Jane. It had Brave New Town from
8th Doctor.
What else? Is that it?
That's all that is based on existing stories. The rest were our own ideas.
Will the Inquisitor come back in your timeline? Well, the Inquisitor has come back.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Look at the end credits. You see she's back in a few of them.
Come back for Panopticon.
Isn't she been in the Panopticon? No, but she's not going to be. Yeah, I don't think she'd be a major character just because of Linda Bellingham's age.
I feel like they could just regenerate her off screen, though.
Yeah, but she has featured in a few stories, being the Inquisitor, and especially a lot of the courtroom stories got, because there's been quite a few courtroom dramas in the Gallifrey arc and into Panopticon, because, well, it's a lot of legal proceedings because it's very boring politics.
Yeah.
Gregory, stop this. The last words of the 12th Doctor. Maybe. I have to refine that. But it will be something along that sort of lines. Maybe it's a big speech about how you can't take over power and all this sort of stuff. It might have been that. Doesn't be, thank you, keep warm. Well, what is now the canonical last lines of the first Doctor from Twice Upon a Time? I can't even remember it, but it's something completely different. He could have easily said to the 12th Doctor, keep warm, and gone in, and that would have worked fine. So, will there be any more stories based on Big Finish? Perhaps, but again, with what I was saying, with new series, it's going to be a lower quantity.
Yeah. I feel like it's something more that Ben and I will discuss like when we're coming up with stories. So, ooh, someone's being a bit touchy about us mentioning Twice Upon a Time.
Oh,
To be honest, I
I was
kind of am
moaning
as well.
about it though.
Yeah. So it's not like the story where even if I think about it, my blood pressure rises. That story being Kill the Moon.
Well,
My blood pressure
why don't we
actually
go
rose
to
when I thought about it earlier today.
why don't we go to a much better, superior universe, I might say,
Ooh.
where David Suchet has just been cast as the Doctor
Yes.
10 years ago, well, not 8 years ago.
Yes.
So we've got that big finish, no big finish, but that DWM cover as well, which I'm sure you've seen. If you're not, look on the Instagram or Twitter. And
Oh yeah,
on the
there's an
actual video as
Instagram
well.
now. For those that don't know, there's a
Yes, there is.
Instagram.
Well, the DaDoctorWhoFan, just is at DaDoctorWhoFan _ I think. So look at that. Yeah, so the Suchet
wherever they are.
Suchet's a doctor. Suchet's there with his TARDIS and his TARDIS key going in their Doctor Who magazine. Have a look at it. But yeah, I think I'm rather proud of that cover anyway. But
yeah, it does.
That's Suchet's costume, by the way. That's his costume, and it does evoke
lazy
of the Griffiths Hartnell era. I think sort of the idea of the costume, but I quite liked it. Well, we liked it so much.
Yeah.
Thought, well, let's use it because one, it's easier to do all the photoshops with if you've got the costume in different angles, and two, it's a really good costume, and I think that really fits the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good.
What's the worst story in the Watch Doctor was actually Universe? In my opinion, it's the Sideshow Step. That's definitely up there. It might be that. It might be just one of the really boring ones, like Looking into the Eye or
Plan B,
or From a Thing Done Afterwards or something like that.
I feel like okay, if we're excluding all of the like Classic Who stories, which I would say my least favorite from Classic Who might be Time in the Rani. And I don't think anything has. I feel like the Societal Step. I personally don't think it's Whithouse's fault.
No, I think it's a lot of Sandeman's fault there.
And then they blamed Toby Whithouse unfairly.
And Toby Whithouse never returned apart from one letter episode.
Yes.
I think because that episode ended up so badly, they had to blame someone for it because it sparked so much controversy. And even I think like Russell T Davies would have come out and said, "Look, what we did is wrong. This is a really bad. We're sorry," because it would have offended loads of people as well.
Yeah.
And if anyone was going to take the fall for that, they would have been the writer, because someone would have had to take the fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Saddam would have taken a lot of the fall for it as well, but he was going, so we're ready. I just want to say casting Suchet was brilliant, such an ideal choice. I was pleasantly surprised and delighted when I found out. Thank you very much. While I bring back Tegan for season 4 to 6, we explained this in the last live stream. We went into a lot of detail with this, so just watch that again. Yeah, we did. We spent ages talking about it. So watch that, please, because I can't be bothered to explain it again. Will Doctor Who video games exist in this universe? Yes, probably. We probably have them like we have them in our universe. I haven't thought too much shit about them, but all that extra merchandise will happen. Toys, games, books, perhaps BBC audio dramas, perhaps. It's all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yay, better universe of Chris Sanderman being so bad, Stephen Moffat left. Like, the thing is, I think people failed to realize that Chris Sanderman is a person that actually exists.
Yeah.
And he is a real person. And we've kind of been bullying him for no reason.
Well, yeah, there you go.
So,
but Stephen Moffat left. Well, he left after doing how many seasons?
4.
So 4
Creative differences. I think
4. I think it's just also because he'd just done enough. He was tired. He wanted to move on to other things.
Yeah.
And also, I think they wanted to mix up the show a bit. And Paramount being there as well, be like, we want to mix up the show a bit. Do you have anyone else come in? And Rusty Davis says, hi.
He's like, hi, I can bring some Welshness to this.
The first thing I can do is make the title sequence go all sort of oily.
Oily?
Yeah, oily and brown.
Don't you mean aged?
Aged, like Extra Track 42.
Exactly.
Oily.
Where did oily come from?
I don't know. It's better than Griffiths. Personally, I didn't like that costume. It is very flamboyant, very red, and very bright.
I like that.
Yeah, it's sort of the Doctor's quirky, mad side, and a lot of the time he would have had the main sort of jacket off and just worn his shirt with a jumper. That was a red jumper, as you see at the start of the Gallifrey arc title sequences for the Redstone era.
Hashtag save Chris Sandeman. Hashtag save Russell T Davies.
What other actors did you consider casting for the 13th Doctor? Personally, no problem. Decision. Curious. We answered this earlier. Yeah. I can't really remember. I know David Warner was briefly considered, but he's like 10 years older than Suchet, so he would have been knackered by the shooting schedules. Yeah. Suchet himself would have also been knackered as well. So, yeah, they would have to deal with that, but that would have probably been overcome. But it's, 10 90-minute episodes a year is a lot to do. So there you go. How many Doctor movies will there be? You'll have to wait and see. Which writers have you considered for what Doctor Who's universe? But you thought they would make crap stories. Well, there's always an element of every series, a weak link story, isn't there? And that's realistic. So that we have purposely put stories which aren't as good as the others in there.
I mean, not recently,
but that's only.
But that's because
well there's some which we can already see looking at the season. We can already see looking at the season. There's some which are weaker than others, though. Yeah, like I think the Eternity track would have been weaker than others. The Fight for Survival would have been as well. Those were probably the two weak links. This is 46, but I think they still would have been good. You've got 45. I think there's more weaker links in 45 than the others. But that's because it would have got quite repetitive quite quickly, 45. 10 episodes of chasing Paul Dabbit around.
I feel like they were originally planning it to be 8 episodes, but they had to buff it up.
I think they were given 2 more episodes by CBS. Like, come on, we want more Doctor Who.
Even the BBC were like, oh, for goodness sake, we want more money, so we'll do it. We agreed to this because of more money. So... yeah.
When it comes to stories based on previously produced stories, what would make the producer try and again with these stories? I don't know. I guess they looked at them and went, "Yeah, we can use that." See how we go. A lot of the time they try to bring back the original writers as well. Sometimes the story would be so similar to what was originally done, they would include the old writers on there. They had no input to the new script and just edit it as a normal script editing.
They would ask for the rights, definitely.
Yeah, they would ask for the rights, but they thought, this is a good story, let it see the light of day. Now in the 90s, we had the budget to make it proper, make it look really good.
The thing is, I feel like with the cast that time forgot, they just did they only edited the bits that would have made sense because They made Jamie return for it mainly because that was meant to be Jamie's last story, so they wanted to have a nod to that.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, it was about Castle McCrimmon.
Yeah. So they also had to tie Simon's introduction to that as well.
Yeah, but other than all the changes that were necessary,
it would mostly be the original story.
And I feel like it would have been probably cut down because I think it probably would have been a 6-parter or 5-parter maybe. But cut it down to 4 parts.
Chris Sandeman is bullied consistently because of a series called What If Doctor Wasn't Act, created by DaDoctorWhoFan. Text 35 blah 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 666 to raise money to save Chris Sandeman.
What have I done?
The Valeyard's appearance would have been there to shock people. A lot of people wouldn't have known who he was, but even then, it's still an enticing tease to go on because you don't have to know he's a Valeyard. The rogue suspiciously making someone out of an extraction that's going on with regeneration, and that's enough on its own, isn't it?
And Charles,
it wouldn't have been announced before, though. Yeah.
So,
but it wouldn't have previously been announced because that ruins the sort of. It's like the end credits teaser, isn't it? It's just before the end credits. They didn't use post credit scenes because, well, they didn't. But it would have been right at the end. And they used the same trope from the end of Penultimate Series 2 of pulling away from a montage of a speech and something happens, which is something I think Robert Sheeran would be very fond of.
No, I don't think it would have been Robert Sheeran. Basically, my ideology
didn't Robert Sheeran write
everything.
I might be wrong, but Robert Sheeran wrote the last episode of Penultimate Series 2, didn't he? Co-wrote it.
He might. I think he did.
Yes, he did.
But,
yeah, he did. So
I would say that's Robert Sheeran's idea. Trope. He might have done it.
I think it is.
I don't think he might have done it for Panopticon. I feel like.
Well, I think it's one of his tropes that's come in because he co-wrote Adams and the Bannerman, and
I feel like Ira probably would have said do it again, and then Rob Sheeran would have been like, all right. So I'm not saying that Rob Sheeran wouldn't have done it at all. I'm just saying he was probably prompted.
Will Gregory appear? Well, George and Moffat. I've read that as Gregory. I thought you misspelled it because everyone's misspelled it. I'm just going to put the spelling of Gregory here if you haven't seen the end credits because that's getting really annoying. That's Gregory. That's how you spell it. So George Moffat appear in Panopticon. Maybe. Maybe not. I would hope not to erase the marriage of David Tennant because that is a bit of a shame.
I mean, different timeline would mean that their children may never have existed.
Yes.
Very possible.
How is Leftover Series 3 based on human nature? Know what Lost Memories based on? Lost Memories are actually based on human nature. Ideas from that would come in there, but mostly it's based on just an original idea.
Yeah, and by Clayton.
But they're very different. Yeah, they're very different stories though. But Leftover Series 3 is human nature, just without that whole sort of time Lord becoming human part. Anyways, that's the sort of thing there. It's just they time travel back to that time period, and they're stuck there, and they have to live like that.
I'm gunning to save Chris Sanderman and then bang Gary Russell from the ship. It's like I was like bashing on Gary Russell. Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, it's Gregory. It's Gregory with a I. It's not Gregory. It's Gregory. That's how it's spelled. Where's the website for us to enter contest? I'm going to chat. It's not a website. It's just my email. So just send an email. I'll put it in the chat now. There you go. That's my email there, and just email me that, and for your entrance to the contest, and that will be finished. Last entrance date there is the 31st of July. I've put all the details on the internet, so you can all see that. Also, text blah 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 movie to send a death threat to Stephen Gar, which was produced extended, which in turn associates him with dimensions in time. There'll be no dimensions in time with this universe, thankfully. And yeah, he did produce EastEnders.
We know that
Griffiths produced lots of other stuff.
We know that Griffiths had the season 27 TARDIS, and we saw that in the first movie that Grant had our War Doctor's TARDIS, and Joseph had the lovely one. Did McGann have his TARDIS? And to that, we say kinda.
Kinda, yeah. It would have been like a low-budget version of the TV movie TARDIS, but then once more metal elements in it.
Once Paramount got in, then it would have been.
They would have
added more each series.
Yeah,
they probably added like the first one. They probably would have decorated it nicer, but then for the third one, for McGann's final season, for McGann's final season, it probably would have been expanded.
Yeah. But Grant would have got his own TARDIS, which is sort of like the War Doctor's TARDIS.
But this would have been in season 39. This would have been in season 39.
No, I think season 38 he gets his new TARDIS, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it make more sense?
Because McGann's TARDIS had been there for 5 years. So new Doctor, they're thinking new TARDIS, because they don't know Moffat's going to leave at the end of the season, do they? Would BBC America's Doctor visit a series that exists in new timeline? Well, I wouldn't be BBC America, I don't think. But we'll have to see. I don't really know. Say Chris Sanderman at gmail.com. I hate EastEnders. It's a soap. Fair enough. Have your own opinion. I don't watch it.
So is RTD's Doctor Who.
Yeah, I don't watch it, but I don't hate it. Like, I wouldn't. But yeah, Dimensions in Time is certainly bad. What locations are you considering to get the What If Doctor Who actually universe in season 27 onwards? Locations like filming locations? I don't know. There's places it can go, alien planets it can visit.
BBC, Wales stop at some point. Wales.
Yeah.
And America. Wales.
Yeah, there'll definitely be more stuff filmed in America though. That episode filmed over at CBS because only a handful have actually been filmed over at CBS. A lot of the stuff was filmed in Spain as well. Panopticon and Doctor Who, the outside exterior scenes would have been filmed in Spain, not just in a quarry somewhere in Wales. So that would have cost a lot of budget because, like, I'm sure. Expensive. Yeah, I'm sure they would film all the scenes for a whole season that are exterior for 41, 42, and 43 and Panopticon out in Spain all at the same time, and then they would go back and because they can't keep flying across and filming whatever they need to do, so the script would have to be ready for that sort of thing. So perhaps that might have been the last thing filmed. That's the only thing I can think of.
Is that your phone?
Yeah, it's mine. It's a weirdo spam caller. That's great, isn't it? Reject. Yes, I do get quite a lot of spam calls. It's really annoying. Anyway, why did you guys create a different type of sequence and theme music for Who Killed Kennedy? Because I thought it would be fun.
It was all Ben because
you weren't around then.
Yeah, we didn't even know of each other. Well, I knew of his existence. Actually, no, wait.
Well, you
I didn't know of his existence. I mean, started watching I started watching before season 40, but not season 37. Wasn't around then.
We decided on that because I think, as you can tell, Chris Allen is very fond of mixing up title sequences when he can, because he did it with Roku, he did it with Who Killed Kennedy, did it do it with any others? He did the end credits for Case for the Blue Box. Any more? Well, all of season 40, really.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I think it's the Sandman trope. And it's fun because different type of story. It's a Dr. Light story. It focuses on another character for most of the time.
Dr. Light, but it still says starring Paul McGann as the Doctor.
He's the main star.
Jennifer
Love and Monsters has Love and Monsters and Blink has David Tennant, Billy Piper, Fraser Adrian in the opening titles. You know, Karen Gillan and Arthur Darvill in Closing Time's opening titles and they're in it for 2 seconds. So
wait, was Arthur Darvill in Closing Time?
What?
I didn't see him.
What?
I didn't see him in Closing Time. Arthur Darvill.
Talking about Amy and Rory.
I know Amy was.
No, it was both there. They're both shopping together.
Makes sense. They're married after all.
I see why you haven't watched that again, but
oh, I have watched it again since like.
Then you just have a terrible memory.
Yeah, but I wasn't recently. I remember me and Jean-Luc. We watched it together, and I suffered. And then turns out we were doing it for YouTube, but turns out like his didn't record, so we had to try and watch it again, and we didn't get through even half of it.
Right, we've got the Ian Levine question now. Would Ian Levine be involved in the latest series, or would he just been shoved out after Eric's series time? Well, Ian Levine wrote Plan B in season 34, and what happened was, in our heads, that for the whole of Garber's time, he was nagging Garber saying, can I write an episode? He wants to be involved because J&T's gone and he's got no influence anymore. And just in his last season, Garber just went, fine, have a story, write something, make it as good as possible, and of course you got Plan B out of it.
Yeah. Need we say
also text blah 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 Panopticon to praise Tony Redston, by far the best producer. What if Doctor was an actual universe? Well, that's debatable. I think Tony Redston was a very good producer. I think just his actions were quite controversial with changing the show so much.
Yeah.
But I think as a producer, his era feels like Tony has a beginning, middle, and end. It's all one story. It's very well done, I think.
It feels like 2 stories. His whole TV run and then Revelation.
But 43 very much links into Revelation because it's all that same the Master.
Yeah.
And text for blah blah blah, vengeance, do it, etc. It's seriously overstating his welcome now to bash Gary Russell again. On the topic of intro, what's your guys' favorite title sequence? And we're going to talk what Doctor was an act here. So, McCoy season 27 title sequence, all the way to Pass and Joseph season 46 title sequence, which is slightly different from the others. What's your favorite?
Do you want to say? Do you want mine first of all?
Yeah, you go first.
Actually, I feel like season 46.
I'm exactly the same.
Because like Patterson Joseph's is like so cinematic, and I just love it. I just love it.
We do have something
yellow text.
We do have something very nice up our sleeves for Sushi, but you have to wait to see that. But yeah, I think that might I don't know if it overtakes Joseph or not. I think I still prefer Joseph's, but yeah, I think Sushi's.
I definitely prefer Joseph's, but Sushi's is certainly interesting.
Yes, it's probably the most similar to our universe you're going to get with title sequences.
Well, other than season 27 itself.
Yeah. So, have you seen Council of Geeks material about the thing Doctor Who should never do? It basically says Penobscon is a bad idea. Well, that's their choice.
I've
not seen that.
Basically, he said that Doctor Who, there should never be a TV Gallifrey spin-off. Mm-hmm. Never said anything about the Big Finish Gallifrey spin-off, but he said that it would take the mystery out of Gallifrey if you see all of it, and that's sort of the main.
I think that's what Penobscon does, and that's the very big issue that the whole Judy Gardner controversy we had with Mark Platt that I talked about in Series 2 created. Because the fact that there's this whole idea of mystery, and Rusty Davis was very big on humanizing Gallifrey to make it work, and that whole thing. But in the way they're going, after season 43, it's obvious they're going to do a Penobscon spin-off, a Gallifrey spin-off, because that's the obvious place to go.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do, because they need to complete the story. You've got all these characters. You've got the Rogue, you've got the Rani, you've got Leela, you've got all these characters you've got to play with. And you give Timothy Dalton his own BBC One show.
Yeah. Like, who wouldn't want to watch that? I mean, yeah, it may take the mystique out of it, but I feel like
in the end it'd be balanced out.
Yeah, I feel like, and heck, I think we'd be normalized to it, really.
Yeah, because by that time we'd had so much Gallifrey. Like, I think there'd still be mysterious bits they introduced, like the Order of Rassilon, new stuff they're introducing, Penobscon, characters like Gregorio, that sort of stuff, and not all their backstories are completely clear. We don't really know where the Rogue came from still now. We know bits about his backstory, but there's still more stuff, and we still don't quite know exactly why the Rogue chose Will Adams. We thought maybe because it's a Shimmeron, but there's obviously a lot more behind it than just that. So there you go.
I feel like the Rogue is more scheming, let's say, for potential future events.
Mm-hmm. I think the Rogue is very prepared, and I also think the Rogue is very good at he would use time travel to his advantage, and he's definitely not the sort of character who will he told you can't go in the future and find out what happens. I bet he, before we even met him for the first time, went into the future to before we even know and find out what happens, so he knows in advance, that sort of thing. He's the sort of character who would just go, what the hell? I'm going to go 20 years into my future and find out.
He's like more like the Seventh Doctor than the Seventh Doctor is.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's very similar to the Seventh Doctor the Rogue is.
I'm just going to say, Ben, when you said prepared, I just laughed.
Yes. So James Corden and Doctor Who, that didn't happen. Yes, it did not happen.
It will not happen.
Would Robin Bland return? I don't think so. I love the Red Sonera, actually. Yay, someone else likes it. I
don't mind it.
It's not my favourite era, but I think it worked really well as an era.
It worked.
Is it all? It seems, it's cohesive, beginning, middle, and end.
43 is the best one, though. Better than the other two.
Why did you use the Murray Gold movie theme for 11 or 12? Why did you not use the Murray Gold movie theme for 11 or 12? What do you mean by that?
I think that person means that why didn't you use that theme for
the TV series?
The TV series, yeah, and possibly like for the opening of the other films.
I tried to, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't fit. I tried with the season 41 titles to use that theme music for the opening, and it wouldn't fit with the visuals. So I got another theme music in.
You
But
used
you
it
can
for the
see,
credits, though.
yeah, I used it for the credits. 'Cause I forgot to change it.
Yeah, but then I feel like it did work for the credits.
Yeah, it worked for
It
the credits.
very
Yeah.
worked. But then in the change of tone in season 43, it had to
That needed a new theme tune because the Doctor was no longer president. The Master was pretty much in charge.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, the
not,
Doctor's this
yeah.
hero, the
It's
Master's
not
now in
the
charge.
bang 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 like that sort of,
And
you know, that,
and the closing theme won't be do 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 do. It would be like da 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 da. It would be more dramatic because it's like a darker tone because the Master is now in charge. Be
which
afraid,
is
children.
terrible.
Be afraid, children.
I honestly love the early McGann titles. I like them. It's just they are very, very slow. Which, if nowadays they would be on Netflix nowadays. You know, that skip intro button might be used for a lot of people because you've got about 2 minutes missing there. And I think people after a while will be a bit bored of watching them over and over again. Where if you've got a 40-second title sequence or something as good as Joseph's, which is about a minute and a half, you know, there's always stuff going on, so it's really fun to watch. Did you guys consider casting yourself as the 13th Doctor? No, not even as a joke. Would the audience be confused with the Rogue and the One who look completely different in Revelation? In the first movie, there would have been a line at the start of the movie like, "Oh, still getting used to your new regeneration" or something like that, and they would have explained it. It would have been quite obvious that it's just in there to explain it, but there's nothing they can do about that. The most important thing was not have the Doctor change between movies, because the fact that would just be ridiculous to try and explain like that. Because you would explain it, but it would just be too jarring. It's more cohesive to have it in a movie, but the other characters try and keep the same. However, they can regenerate. They can just say, "Look, you've regenerated," and they can do that fine.
And the fact is, the people will know what regeneration is if they pay attention to the film.
I love the head titles because it's audience friendly and reminds the people about all the other incarnations up to before watching Head. Yeah, it's an interesting way. It's definitely showing there's a lot of continuity heavy because the Head era is very continuity heavy, as you have to be on Gallifrey. If you just like the end credits, how many created by credits there are, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's setting up like this is a story of the Doctor. There you go. In all seriousness, I like season 40, the Sands of Life titles. That's the just the Tom Baker titles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like just.
What about the end credits? Do you guys like the end credits for season 40?
Yeah, well, we've sorted those out now with Matt's help. I did half of them, he did half of them, and then I put them all together.
I did not do half of them.
Yeah, you did.
I only did 3 of them.
Well, we'll have to say half.
I did 2.5 of them.
You did enough to help me.
Yeah, I did enough. I did do the bits that you couldn't do.
Yeah, well, I could do, but it would take me too long.
Yeah. I thought it would definitely be more efficient. I couldn't do the McCoy ones though.
Yeah, those took a long time with Photoshop.
Feel sorry for you.
Yeah, in the UK, will there be reruns of Doctor Who on BBC Two in the 90s and 2000s? Probably yes. Speaking of spin-offs, were there any rejected ideas for DW spin-offs in your timeline? You know, like the one about Rose and Az. Probably. There's ideas we put with spin-offs that we decided not to go with. Or there's future ideas that we come up for future spin-offs that were supposed to be in a certain year in the future that we're scrapped now for another idea. It's really confusing, so I don't want to go in any case we set up a spin-off about that. There was going to be a spin-off about Extra Track 42 around season 39 time. However, I decided to blow it up, so that never happened.
Someone liked the season 31 end credits.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm working my way down this chat because I'm way down. So let's just stay where I am.
Yeah.
Russell T Davies should have been showrunner season 44. He could have cast Billy Piper as a companion. Very well could have, but he was showrunner. Well, he skipped editor way before 1944. Season 44 had the worst titles. #Bash Russell. If that's your opinion.
Hey. Okay. Gary Russell is not the worst person ever. As I stated, it's just when he writes stuff, that's when he's bad.
Something called self-control. That's like him putting the leftover in Mad World. Like that didn't need to be there, but he couldn't control himself.
True. I mean, he's Gary Russell. What do you expect?
Will there be more spin-offs after Panopticon ends? Yes. My favorite title season 33. There you go. That's, as I said, a very long and tiresome one, but
it's fine.
You're sure how to watch it. I like the end credits season 44 onwards. Thank you. Season 45 is a very long, well, not long, they're very quick, which is a lot of people's complaints because they're going so fast. You have to freeze frame to see what's read on them, otherwise you get an epilepsy.
In terms of end credits.
Fit.
So that's why they changed it for 46, so it can go slower.
I like
that's why we changed it anyway.
Credits. Yeah. I like the season 31 in credits. Thank you. I can't even remember what they were like now, but
it was basically the blue Griffiths one while they were still doing cards.
Would you guys ever consider casting David Morris as the Doctor? Not really, no. I don't hate the whole 44 titles. Can we stop these hashtags save Sanderman and bash Russell? Because just it's.
I think I created some memes here.
So at least some very annoying hashtags which won't go away.
If we see these hashtags again, we're basically. I'm gonna.
We've got about 15 minutes left until I'm gonna close this up because we always do about an hour and a half. So if you've got any final questions, get them in now. And also remember the competition. I'll put all the details on the internet on Twitter. But the main
put them on the internet. Well done.
Yes. Just remember that competition. Send them to my email. And that'll be for season 48. So that's probably going to be in months, maybe like October, November, depends when I get to that, because there's loads of videos coming out, because you'll get a video at least once a month. Try and get 2 out a month and I can do it. But 48, even though that's only like a season away, it's
gonna be a few months.
You've got movies, you've got spin-offs, you've got all that sort of stuff.
You've got a movie and a season of a spin-off after 47.
Yeah.
So don't say movies, don't say spin-offs.
No, there's not movies. Yeah, but there's 2 videos after 47 before you get to 48.
Yeah.
We've already planned out 47, so I'm not going to that. But it's 31st of July, the deadline for that.
Good.
Will the Rogue and Varney regenerate in the foreseeable future? No. Why is the whole oil painting event on mock-up posters for the series target novels and posters? Because I'm an idiot and I use that effect way too much, and I promise I'll never use it again.
Yeah, what's your obsession with oil? Because first of oil paintings and now like oily title sequences.
What in your guys' opinion is the best What If Doctor was an actual version of a modern Who story?
Mad World,
yeah. I love Turn Left ever, but I think that Mad World improves Turn Left because you've got it twice the length and also you've got other stuff. I do think Lizzie's sort of sacrifice is a bit less poignant than Donna's, but I think that's the best way you can do it because there's no other way she can really do it.
Yeah, I mean, Turn Left is one of the best New Who stories, definitely.
It's definitely in the top 5. It might be the best. It might not be, but it's
for me.
Top 5 for me.
I've not thought about my top 5 too strongly, but it's definitely top 10. But the thing is, Russell T Davies can be really good, as evident by Turn Left. And with Robert Sherman, he doesn't know how to not be good. Sure, he does have his duds in Doctor Who, but even then, they're still really good. I would consider Dalek one of his duds. And it's still one of the best pieces ever.
I have a question for you, Matt. Can you do more reviews of the stories? Because I loved your name Shakespeare, William Shakespeare one. Yes, Matt. Will you do more reviews, please?
Please, no. He's getting his whip ready. I know it. He's gonna whip me until like I do it. This became too awkward.
Matt finds it quite difficult to do review. Well, you don't find it too difficult. It's like it takes effort.
The thing is, we had to do that within a couple of days.
Like Because I wanted it for April 1st.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't regret it. I don't regret the fact that okay, we
If you're
had
going to
to.
review an episode, review something that's a bit easier, like review like Mad World or something, or review one of the really good ones, not a Plan B, because you won't have anything to say about it. The only reason you have so much to say about the name Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, because there's so much information there of stuff you can rant about. Plan B, it's just flat and boring.
I might as well just watch Closing Time for inspiration.
Review the societal step. You could do that, but you'd have to be very ranty on that one.
I could review one of the stories that has had a script written about them.
Yes, there are someone who's Time Lord Master. One I think you're doing them. You're writing quite a few scripts for me at the moment, which are all in development. And
is he doing the Naimon one?
No, he's doing a House of Cards / this something for February 2002, whatever it's called, 16th February 2002.
Yeah.
He's done Earthade, but I need to edit that. But I don't have enough time yet, but I'll work on that. And it's in the first part of Illegal Alien.
Cool.
But it's gonna take a while to get everything working.
Turns around, James Earl Jones. I am God.
Right, I'm not down that far yet.
No. It's
sorry.
Not that I was just like.
Okay. Let's just. Right. Sorry. What did Chronotra's TARDIS look like? It's his room in his. It's like his university room, like the Doctor's room in Series 10. It's that room, and that's literally his TARDIS. I'm guessing you haven't actually seen Shard yet, which is fine. Who will be in the driver's seats for Doctor Who? At the moment, the producer is the main showrunner, but the executive producers are very much guiding it along and very much sort of in charge. They're sort of watching over them. And the script editor has to work in conjunction with the producer, but they're sort of like a co-showrunner, but that's the hierarchy.
And then the staff writers they're just
the staff writers work for the script editor. So at the bottom we got the staff writers, and they work for the script editor. The script editor works in conjunction with the producer, and the producer is in charge of it all, but with the executive producers above him looking over it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yep. So what would a David Suchet's Doctor been like? You'll have to wait and see. I would honestly watch or write a review of Societal Step. By all means, if any of you want to write or film a review, send them to me at my email again, and I will upload them.
Yeah.
Do you have any hints of season 47 title colour? My hint is there is lots of colour. Not a Colin Baker style colour, but it doesn't stick to one colour.
Yeah.
Also, alright. Oh, this is going so quickly. It's like not as quick as a Twitch chat, but this is quite quick.
Well, that's because there's not like thousands of people.
Yeah. And there's 20, which is still great for us.
Yeah.
Also, how was merchandise going in your timelines? Which toys were selling best? Well, I think the Doctor's action figures would have sold quite well. I think the companions would have, the same sort of thing as this universe, just the characters
without sonic screwdrivers.
Yeah, because Sonic Screwdriver never returned after the visitation. Is it when it goes?
Yes.
Yeah, and they returned because they never needed to return. And I think there would occasionally be like a Sonic Lance. I don't know. There'd be something in there, like a gadget that the Doctor would have. But the Sonic Screwdriver wouldn't return because they just never brought it back. And so they might have been selling toys of old Sonic Screwdrivers.
Possibly, yeah.
Did the recovery of missing episodes change at all in this universe? I guess they probably would, because there'll be more attention paid to Doctor Who. So I hope more would have been recovered, but I can't say which ones because I can't do that much. Why haven't you actually written stories What If Doctor wasn't axed? Because that takes a lot of effort. And I wrote the script up for Empty Child, and I've wrote bits and bits, but it's a lot of effort to write the stories. So we do it when we can, but most of the time it's really difficult, so we don't. I reviewed the story, you reviewed the other. Yes, you did. I put that on my blog. The other. Anyone who wants to do that, again, you want to do something, I can put it on the blog of where the reviews are and just send them to my email. And that's fine. Die, Sammy. Oh, God. All of this is die, Sammy, now. Apologise if you've already answered this, but what the general audience issues, Doctor Who stories, dependency and Panopticon. And there won't be much dependency. It's more Panopticon dependent on Doctor Who. And in fact, that Vengeance is very much a Panopticon sort of story with disguised Doctor Who, but it works as its own. It works as Doctor Who, and it works as setting up Panopticon. But it's the thing is, the spin-offs are very much interlinked, because Panopticon will be nearly as popular as Doctor Who, because it's all that sort of popularity, and it will get in very similar ratings. It's not because they're both from BBC One; they're both being shown the same. They're at different times of the year, so they both have their equal share of limelight. So it's not like Torchwood, which went on to BBC Two and BBC Three and later BBC One. So I think because the same sort of people watch Doctor Who as Panopticon, it's working quite well. So they allow that crossover to happen like that. The Cessor Toymaker return, maybe. Was any DW characters owned by its creators, like the Daleks Rogue, for example? I think a lot of them would have been owned by the character. A lot of them would be owned by the BBC themselves. Depends.
For like the Doctors and Companions, I feel like those are like
but characters introduced that are not necessarily intended to be recurring characters. Well, the Rogue wasn't intended to be. The Rogue was never intended to be sort of a main character. He was just occasionally show up, so that's why he gets the greatest credit, because he wasn't done as sort of a main character thing. Same with President Gregory. President Gregory has to now have a greatest character for Russell T Davies, because he appeared in a couple of episodes and then didn't appear for years and years and years. And other stuff like that. Also many alien races. Will 47 titles have the TARDIS in them? You'll have to wait and see. Did the Earth stopping his Leftover Series 1 ever have any impact on story set there afterwards? No, because everyone thought that was really stupid.
Yeah, like I mean, remember in the Forest of the Night? Did people care? Remember Kill the Moon? Did people care?
I think the closest you would have got is like Angela might have name dropped the Prime Minister in Leftover Series 2 in the Slavinity part, and be like, he was an utter weirdo, you know. He went from warmongering to being peaceful to being warmongering, all this stuff going on. And there was that whole stuff with that alien spaceship, and the Doctor's like, yeah, that's really weird, isn't it? You know, I can't imagine how that happened.
Yeah, and then he's like, it looks a bit like someone I know. Because it's Patrick
It's the same actor as Omega, yeah.
Oh my god, why? How did you not notice?
Will Stephen Gara produce or be involved in a Leftover movie? Yes, he'll be involved in the Leftover movie. He created it. He's the only surviving creator because Barry Letts died. But he'll be heavily involved in that film. Is Sarah Jane as popular in the series as she was in the actual series? If she is the producer, we consider her as one of the favourite companions to Shumper. She will be one of the most popular companions because she always was, even before she came back in the new series.
I feel like Leela would have become more popular than she is.
Because Leela was a regular on the Gallifrey arc. She was regular on Panopticon. So yeah, Leela would have got a lot of limelight. But I think Sarah, Katie, Jo, Leah's all been really popular. Mel less so, but she was introduced to spice things up. But I think the main four original Leftover cast would have all those companions would have been really popular, especially going into Leftover.
I feel like Sarah Jane and Jo would have been the most popular out of the two. The others would have still been popular, but not as popular as like Jamie or Leela or Ace.
Right. Do you have a limit on how many times a villain coming back? Not really. It's just we go like, well, we brought the Cybermen back in this season. Do we really want to do it so soon, or this how long?
You have a vendetta against the Cybermen.
No, I don't. So the Cybermen are the main villains of season 41.
Yeah, and they haven't appeared since.
Well, that could very well be changing very soon.
Well, they have appeared in like cameos. But
they appeared in Leftover.
Yeah, they also. I mean, they appear in like.
The Cybermen, the only Doctor Who villain to appear in Leftover. Because I'm not counting Sabine because they didn't originally. Yeah, Simon and the Master are the only two, and they're both series 4.
What about the
Mitterhigh? Yeah, Mitterhigh as well. Got that then. Not the mid to high.
Oh yeah, they did come back. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the ones that killed Katie, brought Katie back to life. Not the mid to high. Is it the mid to high? I can't
think
remember.
they're called the mid to high.
Maybe. I can't remember. What's your favourite companion from Watch Doctor? Wasn't asked. I've tried answering this before. I can't really answer it. It's really difficult.
To me, it's Lizzie. It's like I don't like saying it's one of the newer ones, but
right. We're gonna take the last question now because we're about to end. So I'm gonna choose from these questions. The last one I'm gonna do. Why did the 10th Doctor and 12th Doctor not get a Cyberman story? That is because of the fact that the Cybermen were done too quickly there, and they didn't get a Cyberman story. So those are
take the Cybermen.
Yeah, no, I just don't want to overuse them because if you overuse a villain, then you reduce their impact.
Daleks.
Right, so we're going to end up here. Thank you very much. Email me with your story ideas for the competition, and the winner will get some sort of What If Doctor Who's poster, maybe Vengeance. You might get a Vengeance, Revelation, and movie poster, all to put on your wall. You might get all of them. You just have to be aware. You'd have to, once you win, send me your address and your contact details, and I can get those sent to you. But that's only if you win, and then you can do that. Anyway, until then, goodbye. Matt, it's now the time you say goodbye.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it again. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.